In today's world, where change is the only constant and uncertainty looms at every corner, the importance of resilient leadership teams cannot be overstated. Organizations large and small are challenged by economic upheavals, global disruptions, and a rapid pace of technological transformation. In the face of such adversity, leadership teams who possess resilience don't just survive, they thrive, adapt, and spearhead success. But what separates teams that bend and recover from those that break under pressure? Let's explore the top 10 techniques that can transform any leadership group into a resilient force, capable of weathering storms and capitalizing on challenges. Resilient leadership begins at the level of psychological safety. At its core, psychological safety is about creating an environment where every member feels secure enough to voice their opinions, share their concerns, and take risks without fear of embarrassment or retribution. When team members are encouraged to speak up, when mistakes are openly discussed as stepping stones for learning, and when vulnerability is modeled by those at the top, trust blossoms. Leaders who admit when they don't have all the answers, who listen actively, and who foster open dialogue cultivate a culture where innovation flourishes, even under immense pressure. The result? A team that is agile, creative, and prepared to tackle the unknown with confidence. An essential companion to psychological safety is emotional intelligence, or EQ. Resilient leaders are deeply attuned to their own emotions and those of the people around them. They regulate their responses, practice empathy, and navigate interpersonal dynamics with sensitivity. This doesn't happen by accident. It requires ongoing training, self-reflection, and a willingness to confront blind spots. Incorporating emotional intelligence assessments, engaging in regular feedback sessions, and making space for emotional check-ins during meetings all contribute to a culture where communication is clear, conflict is diffused, and relationships are strengthened. The higher the EQ of a leadership team, the more adept it becomes at handling adversity with grace and cohesion. Trust, however, cannot be built by emotional intelligence alone. It demands transparency, especially during times of uncertainty. Resilient teams are those where information flows freely, where risks and setbacks are communicated honestly, and where leaders are as forthcoming about bad news as they are about good. When leadership invites the team into the decision-making process, especially when choices are difficult, it sends a powerful message: we're in this together. This transparency not only builds mutual trust, but also ensures that, when crises strike, the team reacts calmly, constructively, and with a shared sense of purpose. But trust and emotional acumen are not enough if a team is rigid in its thinking. The fourth cornerstone of resilience is adaptive thinking. In a world that refuses to stand still, leadership teams must learn to pivot quickly, to reassess old assumptions, and to generate creative solutions on the fly. This means engaging in scenario planning, running what-if drills, and even swapping roles to gain new perspectives. Such exercises do more than prepare for the unknown. They foster a mindset of curiosity, encourage cross-functional understanding, and ensure that when the unpredictable occurs, the team is not caught flat-footed but ready to respond with agility. To truly harness the benefits of adaptive thinking, decision-making must be decentralized. In high-stress environments, bottlenecks can be fatal. When authority is concentrated at the top, teams become sluggish, waiting for direction. By contrast, resilient organizations train their mid-level leaders to make critical decisions, empower individuals with clear frameworks, and celebrate those who take initiative. When everyone knows not just what to do, but is trusted to act, the team becomes infinitely more responsive. In moments of crisis, this autonomy can make the difference between seizing an opportunity and missing it altogether. Of course, the speed and autonomy of decentralized decision-making can bring its own challenges, chief among them, conflict. Tension is inevitable, especially when the stakes are high and opinions diverge. Resilient leadership teams do not shy away from conflict. Instead, they face it head-on, using structured conflict resolution protocols to turn friction into fuel for alignment. Honest, mediated discussions are encouraged, and disagreements are treated not as threats, but as opportunities to deepen understanding and strengthen unity. Managed well, conflict leads to better decisions and a tighter, more cohesive team. Amidst all this, a shared purpose and vision serve as the glue that holds resilient teams together. In turbulent times, it is easy to lose sight of the big picture. Leaders who regularly revisit and reinforce the organization's vision, who invite their teams to participate in shaping the why behind every decision, and who align individual goals with the broader mission, create an anchor that keeps everyone grounded. This shared North Star inspires perseverance, even when the path ahead is shrouded in uncertainty. But resilience is not a destination. It is a journey of continuous learning and reflection. Teams that carve out time to debrief after major projects or crises, that invest in leadership development, and that encourage cross-training and the acquisition of new skills, bounce back faster and stronger. Every setback is transformed into a stepping stone, every mistake a lesson learned. This culture of growth ensures that the team is always evolving, always ready for whatever comes next. Crucially, resilience must be embedded into the DNA of the organization. It cannot be a reaction to crisis alone. It must be part of the everyday culture. This means recognizing and rewarding resilient behaviors, sharing stories of team members who have overcome adversity, and integrating resilience into performance evaluations. When resilience is normalized and celebrated, it becomes contagious. New team members quickly learn that adaptability, grit, and a positive response to setbacks are not just expected, they are valued. Finally, it is vital to acknowledge that no team, no matter how skilled or committed, can be resilient if it is running on empty. Burnout is the silent enemy of resilience. Leadership teams must regularly assess energy and morale, encourage time off, establish clear work-life boundaries, and provide access to wellness and mental health resources. When well-being is prioritized, performance is sustained, and the team's capacity to handle adversity is greatly enhanced. These 10 techniques, cultivating psychological safety, embedding emotional intelligence, building trust through transparency, strengthening adaptive thinking, encouraging decentralized decision-making, practicing structured conflict resolution, creating a shared purpose and vision, promoting continuous learning, embedding resilience into culture, and planning for burnout prevention are not independent silos. They are interconnected pieces of a larger puzzle, each reinforcing the other, collectively building a leadership team that is not only capable of surviving disruption, but of transforming it into opportunity. Consider the impact of these techniques in real-world settings. When a global pandemic forced workplaces into remote operations overnight, teams that had psychological safety adapted faster, innovating new ways to stay connected and productive. Organizations that had invested in emotional intelligence found that their leaders could empathize with the challenges faced by employees, sustaining morale and engagement even from afar. Where transparency was the norm, rumors and misinformation were minimized, and teams focused on solutions rather than speculation. Adaptive thinking enabled some companies to pivot their business models, seizing new markets and redefining success. In those moments, decentralized decision-making allowed frontline managers to act swiftly, responding to customer needs in real time. Conflict resolution protocols ensured that disagreements about strategy were productive, not paralyzing. Throughout, a shared vision kept teams united, and a culture of continuous learning meant that every setback was quickly analyzed and used to inform future action. Embedding resilience into the culture meant that when the immediate crisis passed, the team was stronger, more cohesive, and more innovative than before. And by planning for burnout prevention, leaders ensured that their teams were not only surviving the crisis, but were positioned for long-term success. The journey to building a resilient leadership team is ongoing. It requires commitment, humility, and the courage to question old ways of thinking. It is about more than weathering the next storm. It is about building a foundation so strong that, whatever the future brings, the team is ready, not to simply endure, but to excel. Resilient leadership is not a luxury. It is a necessity. The world will not become less complex, but teams can become more capable. By embracing these 10 techniques, you set your leadership team on a path to greater adaptability, deeper trust, and enduring success. You create a culture where adversity is not feared, but welcomed as an opportunity for growth. And most importantly, you inspire those around you to rise to the challenge, turning pressure into performance and setbacks into springboards. As you reflect on these principles, consider how you can integrate them into your own leadership journey. Which techniques resonate most with your current challenges? Where can you begin today to foster a more resilient team? Remember, resilience is built over time through consistent practice and intentional action. Every step you take brings your team closer to the adaptability, strength, and unity that define the world's most successful organizations. In closing, resilient leadership is about more than just surviving disruption. It's about harnessing it. With the right mindset, systems, and support, your leadership team can not only withstand the pressures of a fast-changing world, but can emerge from each challenge stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. Let resilience become your competitive edge, your guiding principle, and your legacy as a leader. Together, we can build not just stronger teams, but stronger organizations, ready to shape the future with confidence and purpose.